Good morning. Welcome to Ratatouille Princess. I'm here today with James, aka Mint with Card. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How's everybody out there?
And we've got an Andrew.
Yay.
And we've got Rhea. And we've got a Rolando to start with. So very nice. Obviously, we're doing some GoBots today. Because you and I are probably two of the only people who unironically enjoy the GoBots. Didn't you just do a GoBot video, or am I misunderstanding?
No. So in anticipation of our live stream today, I did my take on the history of GoBots.
Ooh.
That dropped yesterday morning.
Excellent. Well, I know what I'm watching after this. So yeah. And really quick. Let's see. Oh, I know. YouTube always makes it so hard when I try to pull up your channel. You try to send me all the gambling stuff. They're like, hey, you want to gamble, right? And I'm like, no, I don't. Really quick. Let's mute that. Here we go. I'm going to drop a link in the chat. There we go. And it is the one with the history of the GoBots. There we go.
Yes.
Excellent. So there is the link, everyone, to James's video. And if you have not subscribed to Mint with Card, please do. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Good morning, Nolan. We have arrived. And welcome to CJ, channel member. Let me see if I have any sound for channel member yet.
Bring out the olive. Bring out the olive.
There we go. That's going to be a channel membership. Bring out the olives. Anyway. And good morning, Hella Geek, who will be on the show soonish. We have to figure out details, but yes. So anyway, we're going to do some GoBots. The link to James's channel, his GoBot history is there. So when we're done, everyone go check it out. Subscribe if you have not. And hello, Derek. And now let's color. So,
Right.
So how have you been?
Doing well. Adding more stuff to the office, more toys. I did want to say, Andrew, I ended up picking up the other two Cracker Barrel exclusive strawberry shortcake figures. So now I have 3.
I saw you post on Instagram the blueberry muffin.
Yes.
So those are cool.
Yeah, and then the other one was Orange Blossom.
She was a favorite.
Yes. I will say they are very, very top heavy.
Yeah. That's probably why most of them, Kenner, when they made them, did soft goods for their hats. The only one who had a plastic hat back in the day was Huckleberry Pie. And it was a very lightweight rubbery plastic. So because like those bonnets are pretty heavy. So but you need a good heavy bonnet if you're going to be out all day in the sun picking berries.
That's true.
I really often, now that I'm this age and I overthink things, wonder, like, do the Strawberry Land kids have, like, a union? Like, I don't know. Oh, wait. Sorry. We are in a very rural area, but we happen to live under the flight path of the helicopters that go to the one hospital in the area. So anyway, somebody's either leaving the hospital or getting taken to the hospital, being flown in. So I hope everything is okay. Good morning, Bedazzle. Yeah, definitely bluffing with her muffin, but not love gun. Wait, what was it? Just love gun. I don't know. Whatever Lady Gaga said. I used to know it. There's not enough coffee in my day yet to remember it though. So. Anyway, I'm going to start with the command center.
Awesome. I'm doing Mr. Psycho.
Ooh, Psycho himself. See, Psycho is, this is where we're going to get a little controversial for the people. Psycho is a leading example of why I liked GoBots better than Transformers. When you set aside the affordable side where you could get 3 or 4 GoBots for like under $10, depending on what store you went to. Psycho was just really cool. He was colorful, but they were all the same size. So when they were in robot form, it made perfect sense that they would all fight each other. Whereas with Transformers, everything was a weird scale. So, and for anyone who disagrees, oh well.
I think for me, I really loved Crasher.
Fair.
She just had she had the right amount of attitude.
Yeah, she was like one of my. I think between Pathfinder and Crasher, I think that was also. There were girls. I like that there were girls in GoBots. I mean, I know eventually but there were no girl Transformer toys when I was a kid. It was all boys. It was just whatever. But Crasher isn't there? It's been a while, but I feel like at some point in some of the lore, there was the insinuation that Leader 1 and Crasher were a couple at some point before she became evil. I could be making that up, though, so. All right, there we go. I've got my reference for the command center. Not that it should really matter that much. That's sort of the one thing that I find interesting about these GoBot coloring books is how sketchy the art is. Not like sketchy in a bad way, but it's very loosely drawn. It doesn't have tight. So. Which, I mean, is no problem, but it's sort of makes it a lot easier to not be as focused as on getting all of the color schemes exactly right. And we can tell Andrew is not from the United States because he spells color with a U. Color. Kalel, no. All right, there we go. Nope. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, for everyone wondering, this is a temporary setup. I am still getting the office put together. But, this works for now. Oh. There we go. Most excellent. Thank you, Alex, for bringing the olives. We definitely needed them. How are you today? these over here. All right, there we go. Sorry, everyone. Just trying to get the right configuration here. I'm gonna do some yellow and pink for the explosion behind the command center. Since the command center is like gray and there's some orange and stuff in it, but mostly just gray. So try to liven it up a little. So did you have all of the GoBots as a kid, or?
I had, I think, 3 of them.
Okay.
And they were all bought by my grandmother. We had an old store. Probably nobody has heard of it. It's called TGNY.
That's where my yep. No, that's where I got lots of toys in the day.
Yeah. And so every time we would go shopping, she'd be like, go pick out a toy. And I'd be like, cool. So yeah, I think I had the limousine, the submarine, and then of course Scooter.
Yeah, Scooter was a good one. When the ironically, when the TGNY nearest my grandparents' house went out of business and everything was marked 50% off, they had the GoBot collector cases. And everything, it was at the point where everything's like 80% off. So like the GoBot cases were like 50 cents each. And so we left with like, I want to say like 10 of the GoBot cases, which were enough. But all of my GoBots until that point lived like in a giant box. So we left with those, and they had like a bunch of not Halloween, like party napkins from Masters of the Universe. So we had a bunch of those. So we had dinner, napkins were He-Man for a really long time. And they had a bunch of the MASH figures, which I did not get because they didn't have any of the good ones. They didn't have Hot Lips or Klinger. It was like the priest, and I'm like, I don't need a priest for my action figures. And then the generic army dude. So, but yeah. Yeah, TGNY, when it was good, it was really good though. That's where they, for a while there, would get all of the Star Wars action figures before anyone else.
Mm-hmm. So
that's where my Power Droid came from. That's where my parents found my Death Star for my birthday in 1979. And then Bosk, IG-88, Yoda, the white Bespin Guard, and let's see, that was right before we left Texas though. And then after that, when I would go spend summers with my grandparents, it was more about Masters of the Universe at that point. I'm trying to think, there was one more that we got there from Empire. But yeah, we loved when TGNY opened in our little podunk town. It was like a big deal. It had all these big opening sales, and it was like 78, because it was when everyone was still looking for Star Wars figures. The first 12, and like everyone was calling each other like, I heard that they had them, and then you would get there and they would all be sold out already. But no, we love TGNY. That's one of the chains that Walmart kind of offed. think in my grandma's town where the TGNY, I mean, we lived there until we moved, but it was always where my grandma lived. They killed TGNY, they killed the Gibsons, they killed the Ben Franklins. There was another store there called like Wynn that was also, that's where, yeah, it's where you would get a lot of Star Wars stuff too. They killed the Woolworths. The Woolworths was having issues then, but it was just, I remember, you know, the year that we got all the clearance GoBot cases, like, you know, that summer I hadn't been to TGNY. The whole summer I had been there. I had been to Walmart. I think that was the year that Wave 2 Princess of Power came out. And so I had been stalking the Walmart trying to find Mermista, Peekaboo, and Perfuma. So sadly, let's take a look. All right, and everyone just saying hi, and then CJ also knows of them.
Yay. Yeah, so I also had the command center. I remember getting it one year for Christmas, and almost every weekend, my sister would come into my room and she'd be like, "We need them all." And I'm like, "Okay." And she's like, "Set up your command center. It's the mall."
Oh,
Okay.
oh, yeah, no, that would work. It does kind of have a mall-like feel to it. Did your sister and you play with action figures a lot together, or?
We would always trade off. Like she would always bring her Barbies in. And she'd be like, "Style their hair, give them cool
All right.
outfits," and I'm like, "Okay."
Right, because it would have been still very gendered.
Yeah.
That's cool, though.
But she did have the best dressed Barbies on the block, I will say.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, I was just never at, you know, like Kenner's Darcy was my jam. Glamour Gals, Strawberry Shortcake for real. She-Ra, Golden Girl. I appreciate Barbie now more than I did as a kid. It just, I don't know, Barbie just never quite clicked when there was like, I thought Barbie and the Rockers was cool, but it was also really evident that they were kind of ripping off Jim and the Holograms. And Jim was just cooler. Like, it really felt like back in the day, like Barbie and the Rockers was like, this is what old people think rock and roll is in the 80s. Like, it wasn't cool. It's fun. It's very campy now. It's very fun. You know, like, obviously I do a lot of Barbie and the Rockers stuff. But, it just, I don't know. It took me a while to appreciate Barbie. My mom was huge about Barbie, though, so I think some of that also was just like rebelling. With no Barbie. Yeah, some parents not as cool about it. Yeah, and just pointing out your sister profiled you earlier. Sisters always know. It's always the family. And then Hella Geek wants to know about your gorgeous Snake Mountain backdrop.
So it is actually, I just did a Google search for Filmation He-Man art and took it to FedEx, asked them if they could print out as large as they can, because I wanted to have a really cool backdrop to put figures behind so I could take pictures. So yeah, it's just a simple Google search.
Nice. It's really cool. So I need to start figuring stuff like that out for my displays. Oh, and we have a Kenzo saying hello to me and to you.
Hello.
Kenzo, I think, has to work today. Poor Kenzo. And Alex's parents would not buy them a Ken doll, and now they have to. Woot! There you go. As
One
an
year,
adult, buy yourself everything you wanted that your parents wouldn't let you have.
exactly. 1 year, my sister got Western Barbie, and I begged and begged for the Western Ken. And we opened all of our gifts, and I didn't get him.
No.
And then I think towards the end of the day, my mom was like, "There's one more present for you." I
Oh.
was like, "No." She's like, "Yes." And so I got a Western Ken.
Aw. Those were so good too, because they had all the silver, and that Barbie had the winky. The girl up the street from me at my grandparents' house, who was sort of like my first real best friend, she had the winking cow, and it broke because we would make her wink all the time. So then she always looks like she was kind of drunk because the one eyelid was just sort of stuck half open. The Western Ken didn't have the winking feature, did he?
He did not.
Okay. Well, there
He
you
did
go.
have tassels on his sleeves.
It's really not a lot of. I mean, some people know, but not everyone knows. The Barbie and Ken are named after the handlers' kids, Barbara and Ken, and Ken was definitely in real life same-sex oriented, so I think it's quite ironic, at the end of the day. Ken was very much a lot of people's, very significant, and that their son, the real Ken, sort of struggled with it, in the community because he's the prototype for the Ken doll. So there are a lot of people who would try to date him, who were very much more about the, oh, you're the first Ken doll. So it's just interesting that, and it's too bad he, didn't live long enough to see that, he was important to a lot of kids for a lot of reasons. But yeah. No, Western Ken was pretty cool though. That whole era, I mean, it was like the early 80s. It was when Dallas hit the urban cowboy phenomena. It was sort of like a country and Western resurgence. No longer just for hillbillies. It was my personal favorite Barbie is Golden Dream Barbie, and she's from around that era too. I like all the gold and sparkly stuff. If it's got glitters and sequins, I'm probably gonna love it. It was pretty cool and progressive of your mom. Were your parents pretty cool about such things, or was it hit and miss?
It was kind of hit and miss. Like I don't think she really picked up on it in the beginning. She was just like, you have a sister, you guys play together. She has Barbie, get you Ken. It's still a boy.
Right. But that's still cool. That's still really cool of her. I mean, because there are some parents who wouldn't have even let you have a Ken doll. So kudos to her for having a moment of putting your happiness first. And I think it was also a little bit harder for parents of our generation anyway to get a lot of stuff, right? Because you and I are almost the same age, I think. I think I might be a little bit older than you. We had, our parents were boomers, and boomers grew up, in the 50s where it was very, very sort of cut and dried. So anytime I hear of boomer parents who got little things here and there right. It's like, okay, they're not all spectacular. It's really cool. I'm glad you had that. It must be kind of fun to pick up now stuff like strawberry shortcake and get your gem holograms.
Yeah, this last trip to Cracker Barrel, my mom was with us, and she's like, "What are you buying?" And I'm like, "Strawberry shortcake." And she's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Because it's cool."
Because they're so fun and cute, Mom. They smell like berries.
And she was like, "I guess." No, but then she saw her and she was like, "Oh, that is cute." And I was like, "I told you."
How is your mom like with, like, was she good about you as an adult collector? It was one of those weird things where they didn't get it and they were kind of weird about it.
She kind of like, she thinks it's weird that I'm an adult collecting toys, but she kind of gets it.
Okay.
She's like, whatever makes you happy.
Yeah, that was never an issue in our family. My mom's mom, who bought me, had a doll room built for her, because she had so many porcelain and Franklin mint, and my mom was a collector. I mean, not as intensely as I am, obviously. I mean, she had kids. The nice thing about not just having cats instead of kids is you have a little bit more money to spend on frivolous stuff. But my mom was, like, whenever I moved out, I gave her like my Remco monsters and my Remco monster thing for her Halloween, because she always decorated for Halloween. So she would pick up, like, she stole my Batman animated series Scarecrow for her Halloween display. So we at one point found all the Nightmare Before Christmas toys from like the night, like they came out when the movie came out, and they had all been discounted. So we bought a bunch of those because she loved the Nightmare Before Christmas. So my parents, luckily, pretty much my dad collected coins and stuff, and like scrap metal to build stuff. So they were far more encouraging than some people's parents are. Yeah, and tell your sister to stop being such a hag. Yeah, hag. We'll leave it at that, because your sister might be sweet otherwise. I love that, CJ. Let me pull it back up. I don't know if you saw it. CJ is just, sometimes her dad crosses her mind and she thinks, oh, if you could only see me. And that makes me really happy. Yeah, what's interesting about Motu is I've got my childhood Tila and Evelyn. I have all the origin stuff and a bunch of like, this is where people probably might unsubscribe. I loved Motu as a child, but the articulation on it bothered me even as a kid. So Origins for me is perfect. Like, it's exactly how I wanted those toys to be when we were kids. So I'm okay with not. The only vintage stuff I've purposely bought was I bought the weapons pack, so that I could use the weapons for custom figures. Back before we knew we were going to get a Wondar, I was like, let me get stuff so I can make a Wondar. I bought an attack track because it was $12 and in pretty good condition. I need to print the label, print labels and replace them, because the labels are a little janky, but that's easy. Thanks to Toy Polloi, that's a pretty easy thing to fix. like there are a few vehicles that they probably aren't going to make that I will probably track down because the vehicles pretty much are going to be the same. But as far as the figures, like every time an Origins comes out that replaces one of the vintage ones, I'm happy because the articulation is better. I do wish they would give us a Tila and Evelyn with the actual vintage head sculpts, but I have a Dremel. I could technically buy Beater, Evelyn, and Tila's and make a head that works for, on an Origins body. Hebrew has a tutorial on how to convert a vintage Tila head, which would work the same for Evelyn. So if they don't give us one soon enough, I'll just jump on eBay and buy some beaters to get the proper, what I consider the proper head sculpts for Tila and Evelyn. But otherwise, oh, I hope you feel better, Alex. Yeah, I wish they would too. The weapons pack seemed like a real oversight to me. And then, exactly, Andrew. The gym doll, I haven't opened mine, but just, that will happen soon. That's what's going to be fun. I think I'm just going to, once I get the recording area set up so that it's always ready to record, I think I'm just going to unbox everything and make like a video. Here's what I unboxed this week from my stack of unboxable stuff from the last 3 years. So if you guys want to see old toys get unboxed, have I got the content for you? It was like when you didn't get your Fright Zone, I felt bad for you, and I'm like, I've got mine. I'm not gonna, like, mine's still in the box because I'm gonna put all of that over here under, well, I have to get, because there are 2 windows here and they let in real sunlight, and it's an oddly shaped window, so like installing curtain frames is possible, but then it's a lot of work. So I got instead those really cool adhesive like window treatments. And I got one that's kind of like carnival glass looking, so it looks like the window in one of my favorite toy stores as a kid. So I'm going to put that over there, and then Eternia and all that's going to go over there. So when that happens, I'll open my Fright Zone. But I remember thinking, like, if I had time, I would have said, well, I'll just, overnight mine to you, or when you get yours, you can send it, because I'm not going to open it anytime soon. But by the time I even had bandwidth to sort of figure that out, yours was coming. So
yeah, it's on my review table, still in its shipper box.
Yeah.
And I pass it every day, and I'm just like, ugh.
Definitely do that. Like, so I saw somebody the other day who was talking about when they get stuff late, they don't bother doing a video. And I'm like, I get, like, from the point of view of like, like your video getting pushed. Yeah. But I personally, whenever I find a new channel, I love going through the backlog and just watching everything that I want to see. Yeah. So I feel like do it anyway, because even if it doesn't hit big, it doesn't blow up. When you do have a video that hits at the right time and somebody finds your channel, that they'll go back and then they have all this cool stuff to watch, because somebody who's deep diving on your channel isn't going to care that even if they've opened their Fright Zone already, they're going to just want to see what you have to say about it. So, but I also don't fuss as much about like the algorithm, except this last month when YouTube has screwed everybody over with the algorithm. Boy, YouTube, way to tank everyone's views. Oh, wait. There it is. There's my reference. Excellent. Let's make sure I'm not missing. So really quick, yeah, I would like a Queen Marlena in Origins. I also, though, I know everyone wants the Filmation look. If they do it in cartoon collections, yes, but I kind of want the 2000 and X look for Marlena because I think it's more interesting. Also with the Shadow Weaver, the way she breaks apart, you could pretty easily, especially if you got the I don't know if anyone else got it, but Lee's Custom Toys made a Queen Marlena conversion kit, which I bought, and I used She-Ra parts and a Sorceress from Origins. But with that Shadow Weaver, the like skirt, the way it pops off, like that easily, if I were to repaint that green, I could use this conversion kit from the waist up and it would be perfect. So I think I might grab another Shadow Weaver, and then I can use the extra parts of Shadow Weaver to make some weird custom. So, but it would be cool to get her in 2000X. So, so you did a GoBot history video.
Yes.
And remember, I'm supposed to ask you about your channel. Sorry. You know, it's fun to hang out. Are you going to start doing more history-like videos?
I'm thinking about it. That one was pretty fun to go back and research the history of GoBots and watch old GoBots commercials and be like, wow, we were really like that in the 80s. Yep, we were.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I recently got like the little free booklet that they sent out with like Wave 1 toys. And it's pretty cool. It's got a lot of the same art from the coloring book in it. But I don't know. I don't understand why people are so antagonistic. Words are hard. Toward the GoBots. Like, it's just like people are just like, they were the worst. It's like, really? Are you serious? Come on. All right, so this is all blank, but it's supposed to have stuff. So I'm going to pretend like I'm far more creative than I am, and I'm going to leave some blank space in here. And then go in with a paint pen and get fancy. So if you do more history videos, like what other toy lines would you want to cover?
Let me see. I think because I just finished a video on Wave 2 of the McFarlane Super Friends figures, maybe looking at the history of all of the different incarnations of Super Friends.
Ooh. That would be really cool. Yes, and also no, but also yes. So GoBots actually hit US markets a little bit before Transformers did. But Transformers and GoBots, those first few waves, all existed in Japan already, and were just purchased and brought over. So even if they had hit, you know, Transformers had hit first, the amount of time it takes for the production of all of that, it was like simultaneously happening. And then eventually, I think the company that created GoBots in Japan anyway is now part of Takara, so I think it's all under Transformers now. And so don't quote me on that one though. I could be wrong. I have not done a GoBot deep dive. And my GoBot deep dive though will start this afternoon with James's video. Dun, dun. So Super Friends. So Super Friends. I'm gonna assume, and also based on your videos I have watched, that you really liked Super Friends.
Yes. I think for me, that was my, I guess, go-to
Mhm.
for superheroes. Didn't read the comics, but watched all of those cartoons. And so whenever somebody says Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, that's what I think of.
Yeah. So I'm gonna assume that because we're again roughly the same age, did you have any of the Migos stuff?
I did not.
Okay. That did start tapering off. Like I had, they could never find the Wonder Woman for me, but I had a Batman and I had a Robin. And then they were gonna buy me a Superman, but then I found something else I wanted instead. But for me, it wasn't until Superpowers that like I finally got some superhero toys that I liked. And so I assume you were all in on Superpowers as a kid.
Yes. And the funny thing about that, my mom bought me most of all of them except Wonder Woman.
Of course.
She's like, you don't need her. And I'm like, yeah, I
Oh,
do.
yeah, she's kind of important,
I'm like, we watch the Linda Carter show every week.
right?
We need Wonder Woman.
Well, it's funny because the Wonder Woman show had been off for a while. You know, like it ended, I think, in 1980.
Yeah.
And but the Kenner booklet for the first wave underneath Wonder Woman, it's like the star of TV's #1 hit. So even in '84, they were still using the Linda Carter show as a way to like promote the figure. So it's just really interesting that in this day and age, you would never ever like, buy this toy based on a movie that you know, a TV show from decades ago for kids. Like for us, of course, like half of what we buy is because it's from something we loved 10 years ago. But like you would never you know, like kids toys now are all based on current properties. You know, there's the like crossover stuff, but at this point Star Wars and Marvel stuff is kind of evergreen based on like their classic comics. You would never, you know, like this year if they released a Wonder Woman figure for kids, it would just be it's Wonder Woman. It wouldn't be from the hit movie of 2017 that you all loved. And the movie from 2020, 1984, that you all feel very conflicted about because it was partly fun but also not. How can a movie have too much in it and then at the same time not enough to make it make sense? Make that make sense.
Right. Wonder Woman 84. You watched it. Yep.
Yeah. I liked it, but I also am a big enough Wonder Woman nerd that I knew exactly what stories they were referencing. But I also didn't like it so much that I couldn't see the flaws in it. You know, it just, that's a movie that needed about 30 minutes less and a sequel. Like, there's no reason that Barbara Minerva needed to become the cheetah in that movie if we're not going to get werewolf cat lady transformation on screen. Doing that off screen not only was confusing, but just cheated us of like the coolest, what, you know, like what we were all waiting for. I think we would have all forgiven many more sins of that movie if they had given us a cheetah transformation scene. But the way it stands in that movie is You see her at the White House fighting with Wonder Woman, like all tough and sort of cat-like, but still like just a angry Karen in a leopard print. And then she's a Catwoman. It's like, what's happening here? So definitely that movie, you know. And if they just removed the transformation and had her sort of escape at the end, and then in the third one have her transform into the cheetah, then that probably would have worked. But what do I know? I don't work in movies. Excellent. Well, thank you. I feel like it's true, and I've read it somewhere, CJ, but I'm not gonna claim to be accurate if I can't be assured I'm accurate. I'm gonna be up here and telling people not to take Tylenol. Sorry, that slipped out. Let's see. All right, cool. We are caught up on chat. Oh, wait. CJ had... Yeah, that might be a thing. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking of is... Oh, wait. I think you're talking to Alex. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, when I did the toy unboxings, I probably will just do one supercut a month, since it's all old stuff. But I could be super pedantic about it and be like, this is Masters of the Universe, the Cartoon Collection Wave 3, and here are all the figures in it. Watch me unbox them. They've been out 2 years. I could do that and just not tell it. And everyone watching this would know that I'm being sarcastic the way I'm doing that. So it could be an in-joke for all of us here right now. Are you excited for the 2000X figures that they're going to start doing in Origin scale?
Yes. And I did see that Mondo dropped their first 2 figures.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, too much for me.
So I'm in this place, and I don't say this lightly because I know a lot of people like Mondo, and I have jobs with people who are very friendly with Mondo. So this is definitely not sort of a like Mondo is the worst. I don't, you know, correct me if I don't, you know, no. If your opinion is different, you're welcome to that. But I don't feel like Mondo actually makes toys. I think they make highly posable statues, and their price points are fine for highly articulated statues. But for toys, they're just overpriced. And for people who want the highly articulated statues, I support you getting what you like, but every time somebody tries to sell me on the fact that Mondo is like great looking toys, I'm just like, they're not really toys. They're like highly articulated, posable statues for adult collectors. And I'm more and more lately, I'm just sort of in this place where it's like, I want my toys to look like toys. I don't, you know, for a while I've not always vibed with like Star Wars toys, which of course is sort of weird because Star Wars is sort of my first love on toys. But I realized, and this isn't anything against Hasbro, this is just what the bulk of sort of fandom wants, but I gravitate more toward the figures that they release that look more like toys. I like the vintage collections vibe, but I don't, it's starting to get too uncanny valley for me, the way they try to make everything look like the actual actors. So, I mean, everyone who loves that, I'm happy for you. Like, I legitimately, that's not sarcasm. Like what you like, and if it makes you happy, that's amazing. But for me, I'm sort of really settling into the place where it's like, I want my toys to look like toys. If I want a highly articulated posable statue, then Mondo's got me covered. Yeah, and then with that sort of lens, like the price is exactly what you would expect for that. And so that's kind of where I am at. So I'm obviously not going to be buying, any of the Mondo stuff. And that just means since they're limited that everyone who wants them can get them.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm going to spend that kind of money, it needs to be on a vintage toy. So congrats to everyone who has a better chance now that I'm not going to go for those. Yeah, and for me, like for other people, the price is exactly right, but yeah, for the price of one Mondo, you can get multiple. You could get 4 or 5 like Masterverse or like 6 or 7 Origins, and I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. About 6 Origins figures, depending on which ones they are. Since some of them are like $20.99 and then others are $24.99. But I don't know. I know there are a lot of people disappointed because they did kind of say they were going to try to keep the prices down. And then they're over 100. I think the deluxe, the ones that aren't the deluxe releases, will be closer to like 100. So. For that, but the ones they've released, I think, are the deluxe ones. But again, if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. Once I opted out, I stopped paying as much attention. Oh, Kenny had a customer. Did you sell anything, Kenny? Did they buy a bed? Did they make you get on the bed to prove that it bounced? Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah, so for the new stuff that's coming out from Mattel, I saw them at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I want. Toys.
Yeah. They look really, I mean, like that cloth, to me, that clothful looked perfect. Like, I was kind of, I liked the Evil Lyn. I know some people are like, the face looks off, but to me, that face looks spot on for the actual cartoon. And I think people just forget what she looks like in that cartoon because we've gotten every version we've ever gotten of her after that cartoon was like classics, or it was the really bad one. It was just an Evil Lyn repaint that they dropped like the first or second year of Origins. Hopefully we'll get to see the Tila soon, because I'm curious about the Tila. Also curious if they'll give us She-Ra in that, because they did do a 2000X She-Ra. Which I have and need to unbox at some point. Did you watch 2000X when it was coming out, or did you miss it?
I watched it when it first aired, and I was in that camp when it first started. I was like, this is not my He-Man.
Huh?
And then I think midway through, I was just like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch it live on TV. I would watch it because I had just moved to Oregon and did not have cable. And it was like on Cartoon Network or something. But we lived right next to a Blockbuster, and I still had my card. So I started renting them as soon as the tapes would drop. And I liked it better than Filmation even then. I'm one of the few people who did not like Filmation. I always thought the stories were too simplified. So I from day one liked 2000X better. Yep, I agree. Oh, hello, Sight Beyond Sight. Welcome. Lovely to see you today. I don't know if Kenny is catching up or if he's in real time with us. But yeah, everyone's views went down the toilet because YouTube did a thing where if somebody has an ad blocker, they don't count the view. So technically your views are higher, but they're just not counting any view from somebody who has an ad blocker. I don't know if that's still the case, but about a week ago, that's what was going on. And that started, I think, on August 10th. So if you go and look at your views before August 10th, everything is probably pretty normal. And then everything else after is a hot mess. So, and that's why, because that's when they pushed the change through. And people didn't catch that at first. It took a while to figure that one out. So yeah, which makes perfect sense because I was watching it on one of my videos on one of my alt account, and it just showed like 0 for the view count, which is weird. And but the browser that I have on that account has ad block and all the blocks because it's basically like my work account, which I keep on a separate profile and has to be ad free because, you know, sometimes things slip through on those ads and I deal with sensitive information that has to be protected. So, but yeah, so it was an ad block thing. Or is an ad block thing. I don't know if they fixed it or adjusted it or what. Which kind of makes sense because because for if you are monetized, you can sort of see what you make per video. And none of the money on any of my videos had changed. Like I was still pretty consistently making the same amount of money on each video that released. It was just the views that were down, but because they were only counting the ones where you only get paid when people watch an ad. So it all clicked. It all made sense. So don't know if they have fixed it yet or not, but that's part of it. And I don't know if there's a way if they plan on fixing that because for them it's about whether or not they can make money off your video. And so anyway, that was some side note. It's agreed. Yeah. Yeah, I also agree. Like I had a few videos that have less than like 30 views on them that should have had 100 or more. Based on just sort of, everything. But since YouTube does not pay my bills, money I make from YouTube just goes right back into the channel. I'm not stressing about it beyond the way you feel when you're like, oh, only 5 people watched this video I spent hours on. There's that. There's always going to be that. But I don't worry too much about the rest of it. For people where YouTube is how they pay their bills, those are even the big creators have been hit. And part what I will say is there's also a perception. If you see something that only 23 people have watched, you're less likely to click on it. So there is sort of that side of it where it could hurt, especially smaller channels in that case, because it only has, you know, like 50 views instead of 200-300 like it normally would. People might say, well, this video is obviously not very good. So hopefully they address it in some capacity. But yeah. Woot. Oh, and thank you for reminding me, Jarek Hoover. Yes, channel memberships are now live on my channel. There are two options. There's the 99 cents. I love what you're doing and I'm poor, but I would like to help somehow. And even at that level, you get free emojis. Specialized emojis, obviously shout outs, my eternal appreciation. And I also do 2 polls for silver. That's what I call the lower tier. You are a silver member. And you get to help me pick 1 short each month and 1 flip through video each month. There are also extended time videos with no music. So you can say spend an hour watching and then pick your own music. Or if you just want to watch me color for relaxation with no sound, you don't even have to hit a mute button. For the gold tier, which I believe is, I think, $3.99. Yeah, $3.99. There will be an extra members only live stream and extra videos. So, and it'll be the weird stuff that YouTube will not push that make me happy. So anyway, so there's my spiel. If you would like to support the channel, greatly appreciated. But I also know the economy is tough, so no judgment for anyone who doesn't have the funds for that. I appreciate just you watching and hanging out with us right now. So. But YouTube was like, you should do this. And I'm like, great, I'll do this. So I did this. So it's there if you need it. And so far, CJ is a member. And let's... all members get this special sound.
Bring out the olive.
Oh.
Mentos, the fresh maker.
Wait.
Mentos, the fresh maker.
There we go. Anyway, thank you, CJ, and thank you to anyone else even considering it. I appreciate your time, your energy, and your effort. All right, the shilling is done. At least I'm shilling for myself, and it's not like, here, you should do this vape pen that will help you reduce your bad habits because it's flavored air. That's the of all the advertising I see on YouTube where creators actually have an ad in the video, that's the one that annoys me the most. You've got bad habits. Here's a way to break your bad habit with another bad habit that's not as bad as the other ones. I'm just like, it's a bad habit. Stop. Anyway.
I like when they jump in with something that is not even directly related to their content.
Yeah.
And you're like, what is this? Okay.
I hate when, like, I watch a lot of true crime. And some of the segues, you guys. Like, I was watching one the other day where it's like they were lost in the wilderness. Nobody knew where they were. They didn't know how they were going to get out. But you know who isn't lost? People who use this VPN. I was like, okay, that was pretty bad. Like, I was laughing, don't get me wrong. It was hilarious, but not in the hilarious way that they might have thought. And so. And then I just skipped past the commercial. I'm like, I'm just going to forward until this is over because that was tacky. It was funny in a, like, I can't believe this just happened. The audacity. Oh, wait, Kenny. Kenny's a YouTube member. All right. Kenny,
Bring out the olive. Bring out the olive.
and then for everyone who would tell him no,
Kalel, no. Kalel, no.
oh my God, Alex too. You guys, I love you. You guys don't know how much you make my life
Bring
better.
out the olive.
Mentos, the fresh maker.
There we go. And then again, if anyone ever tells you don't join Allison's channel,
Kalel, no.
there we go. All right. Woot. So we already have. There's already one poll up. CJ, you may not win that poll after all. Sorry, because the poll closes in 2 days. CJ has had all month and been winning the poll. Anyway, there's already one poll up, and there will be another one to go up tomorrow for a flip through. And the flip through is going to be a book I have that that I just am like, this is a cool coloring book. I will never, well, and it's not even true now because it'll be members' choice. But it was like I would never make a video out of this, but you guys get to pick that, and it's a weird, cool side stuff. So open to all members. So anyway, thank you all. I appreciate you greatly. And CJ, you've got competition now. So yeah. Anyway, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Derek, for reminding me I'm supposed to shill for myself. Oh my goodness. I'm rich. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not rich. There we go. All right. Woot. All right. Anyway, I'm excited now. Anyway, back to James, because James is the guest of honor today. Sorry, James.
No, you're fine.
I stole
You're
your
fine.
thunder.
One day I'll be there
One
too.
day. One day I'll come on your channel for something, and then you'll just talk about yourself and your memberships the whole time. And I'll be like, turnabout is fair play. All right, let's see. How is your picture coming along? Oh, that looks really good, James. James is a real artist, you guys. Uh-oh. And Cobweb just became a member as well.
Nice.
Here we go. Here we go.
Bring out the olive. Bring out the olive.
And you guys, Cobb, channel lore here. Cobb and Kenzo are the reason we have Bring Out the Olives. Cobb sent me the reel one night of that from the Maury show. And then I sent it to everyone, made some jokes about it. And then Kenny started sending me pictures of him at a store with olives freaking out. So.
Mentos, the fresh maker.
Yeah. Uh-oh, wait. Here we go. Since now I have 4 members.
And enough champagne to fill the Nile.
Wait, oh my God, wait. No, I've got another member. Welcome, Sight Beyond Sight. Oh my God, you guys. I should have you on more, James.
Right?
I'm
bringing in all the
Everyone
business.
come and talk about me. Ignore him.
Bring out the olive. Bring out the olive.
Mentos, the fresh maker.
And then this one's better, I think.
And enough champagne to fill the Nile.
There we go. Here we go. All right. Thank you, everyone. You know, Alex, though, I still have them all saved, so I will just send them all to you. And again, I'm sure you all heard since you've joined, but if you go and vote now in the poll that's up for a short, you could dethrone CJ as the reigning queen of the poll. Or you could all vote for the same thing and be like, that would be cool, and then CJ will get her way. Either way. I now have my own gang, you guys. I have enough people to be a gang or like a superhero team. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, I've got It's enough. We're a superhero team or a gang, depending on whether or not it's West Side Story. So I bet olives and champagne would taste delightful. That's what will happen on the first members only stream we do. When it's time for a members only stream, I will have a glass of champagne with olives in it. And we'll see if it's any good. Sure, it'll be delightful because I love champagne and I love olives. How could it not be good? So. There we go. Gang by night, super team by day. It's like the Thunderbolts, but real. Right? Anyway. Thank you, everyone. You have brightened my day even more than it was already by getting to hang out with James today.
Yay.
I have to say, I've been looking forward to this all week.
Me as well.
Unlike when other people are here and I'm like, God. Just kidding. I've gotten really good about not inviting anybody on here I don't want to spend time with. If I've ever said you should come on, it means I want to hang out with you. The people I don't want to hang out with are just never on here, so there you go. There are a few people I haven't invited on that I would like to hang out with, but this is not sort of their jam, or the side of YouTube isn't, you know, sort of where they hang out. Like I have a friend who does roller derby and she kicks ass, but I don't know that, you know, having her on here to color with me necessarily makes sense for, you know, what she does. Although it could, maybe that whenever I do some member streams, I'll just have weird people that I know come on and we'll just talk about the weird shit they do. So. Ooh, I don't have any merch, so I don't know how I feel about merch. What are the thoughts about merch? Like everyone's like, you need we'll get stickers, and the only reason none of the membership stuff has anything about stickers is I have not bought stickers yet. Once I get some stickers made, all members will get free stickers if they trust giving me their address. Because, you know, I am pretty infamous for the glitter bomb situation. So not everybody might trust me enough. And if you don't trust me enough because you think you might get a glitter bomb, you have a great sense of self-preservation, and I love that. Like, I see you. I hear you. Yeah, we could get those members-only jackets. And then in the back, on the back, it would say Olives. That's the gang name, you guys, the Olives. It's a terrible name for a gang, so let's do it. Welcome to All My Olives. Although I was watching a YouTube video the other day and the girl like had some name for all of her members that was so bad I just I can't finish this video. I don't even remember what it was. It was just so bad. I'm like, I can't even. I'm out. It wasn't cute. It wasn't any. It was just like, why would you? What? I'm out. So. Oh, yeah. Yep. There we go. All right. So olives it is. You guys are my little olives. And then if Derek is talking about it, maybe we'll have more olives soon. This will be fun, you guys. This will be the best. Anyway. Excellent. Here we are. Oh, it's Brick. Hello, Brick. Mint with card. Do you know Brick? Brick, Mint, Brick. I know you guys have seen each other in chat, but I don't know if you've actually ever intersected.
No, I've come to some of his live streams,
Okay.
chatted in the chat.
Excellent. We need to get you on the clubhouse with us and the gang some night, some Saturday. Have you come hang out with us? And the first time I ever went on Clubhouse, it was me and a punk with toys, Larry, the shortest man in ToyTube, and we both jumped on there for our first time. And some Oz was doing an open mic, and some guy jumped on there with a. I think if I were to say prolapse, what would you think come next? Anyway, he jumped on, and that was, yeah. So that's never happened again, but that was my. So after that, I was like, no matter how out of pocket I get, it will never be that bad. So. And it was a real shitstorm, if you will. I was just like, wow, that's impressive. And I was just like, how long have you been holding all of that? Because it was a lot. Like, I've never, you know, and I used to babysit. I've never, anyway. Yeah, exactly. A lot of people were there that night. It was harsh. Yep. I know. It would tarnish my reputation if I just guessed, if I just assumed. When you assume, you make an ass out of you and like can't take the heat. So James, do you like scary movies?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Big horror fan.
Excellent. What's your favorite scary movie?
Showgirls.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm not a whore, I'm a dancer. And you're not an actress either.
No, that's a line from Scream. That's
yeah, I know.
Top 10. And I would probably say Halloween, the original, is my number one. Yep.
The one where he stalks the babysitter in the mask.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good one.
But
I don't have my Halloween poster up yet. I still need to order it. I've been having a hard time finding the original, like the pumpkin knife one.
Mm-hmm.
They have a bunch of the newer ones or ones with just his mask, and it's like I want the actual original. Or I'll find it and it's like coming from China, and it's like I'm not gonna spend like tariffs on a $20 poster. I'll just keep looking; it'll show up. And so, but yeah, no, that's a good one. It's a classic for a reason. So, I'm sorry, Alex. I love horror movies. I don't watch a lot of new horror because it tends to be a little too intense for me. You know, that's how you can tell you're older when, like, you watch something like Saw, and it's not necessarily that, like, it's scary. You're just like, oh, that would hurt. Like, the recovery time from that would take a really long time. Like, it hurts different the older you, for me anyway. I'm just like, oh, yikes. I can picture what that would feel like. No. You know, because you get to a certain age and you fall on your butt, and it's completely different than when you're like 15 and you fall on your butt. Like after 40, if you fall on your butt, that can take you out for 2 days. And it's like, I have to sit down for 2 days. I can't keep going. And I'm not sure why my New York accent slipped in, because I'm not even from New York, but Something about pain reminds me of New York. Yep, exactly. It's a really good one. Obviously, you didn't see that in the theater.
No.
Did you get you? But I assume you got to watch like growing up scary movies and stuff.
So when I was about 7 or 8, my mom won movie tickets from the local radio station, and the movie was Friday the 13th. And she decided to take me to go see it.
Oh,
So that one was a little traumatizing as a kid.
yeah, I can imagine. The first one, correct, with Mrs. Voorhees.
Yes, but
Yeah.
when I watch it now as an adult, I'm like, why was I scared? This movie is.
Well, you say that, but every well, it's been a while. But when I lived in Portland, it didn't just travel there to visit on weekends. It's perfectly fine in Portland. Portland was gorgeous when I left yesterday. No, yesterday on Friday when I left, Portland was gorgeous. You guys. Anyway, don't believe the hype. But a lot of the local theaters there are a lot of revival houses, and every Halloween or whatever they would do scary movies, and every time they do the original Friday the 13th, I go because that's my jam. The final girl from that movie, Adrienne King, lives in South Oregon, and had for a while her own wine label. So you could call and speak to the final girl and order a couple bottles of like Jason red wine with the Jason label that she painted because she's an artist. But when I would go see it, like I'd always, like it would start and people were like, this is so cheesy. Especially after sort of the first kill with the 2 teenagers at the camp in the opening. But then from the point where Annie happens, Kevin Bacon and the arrow through the neck, the axe. Like after the axe, the scene in that bathroom with the axe in the forehead, like all of the people giggling about how this movie is so ridiculous, like was done. And after that, it was just there's a little bit of the comedy. There's a little comicalness about the machete scene with Mrs. Voorhees at the end, because of the hands and whatnot and the expressions. But that final scare, the jumping out of the lake, like every time there's some girl in the audience who screams and like would throw her popcorn because it got her every time. And it's just because she'd never seen it before. It's just she didn't know and she wasn't watching it ready for it, right? Every time I've gone like 5 or 6 times in the 2.5 decades I've lived in Oregon, and every time it gets at least one person in the audience where they're just by the end of it they're like, oh my god, that's not okay, that's not okay. So yeah, no, I mean, we've just closed 5 more Starbucks in Portland, so don't come, because no matter what everybody says, the local coffee tastes burnt. If you're gonna get burnt coffee, get it at Starbucks where they'll put extra caramel in it. That's a good one. I like that one too. That one for me varies depending on which version it is. I don't like the theatrical bummer of an ending. I like the one from VHS with the DVD or VHS with a happier ending. I don't like when scary movies end on a bummer. Especially when they're super intense. Like I need to leave with some little bit of hope. So, yes, I needed a little candy coated, not gonna lie. I just feel like, especially with a movie that's really, really, really intense, if you just leave on a complete downbeat, like it makes me not want to rewatch it ever. And like I like to rewatch the movie so that I can dig into the themes and stuff. So I don't know. Give me a little hope at the end of your horror movies. I think that's really why I liked a lot of the 80s slashers, because you always had the girl at the end who survived. You know, like, she probably wasn't going to be okay right away, but like, there was at least some hope. Somebody got away, you know. Whereas when everybody dies or evil wins, it's just depressing. I prefer an ambiguous end where it could go either way. Like Black Christmas is a perfect example of technically a bummer ending, but because we don't actually know the ending, it could go either way, and like there's room for hope. Like it doesn't have to blatantly be like a happy or hopeful ending. It just needs to give me room to see that there could be hope at the end. I feel like the world is pretty bleak in general. Always, like I've always felt like that, you know, like you can't really count on, you know, sometimes evil wins. So in movies, I like to go for the escapism, and not everyone does. Like that's why I'm not like, you should never make a movie with a downbeat ending. People like that, and just for me, it doesn't. Even when the movie is designed to make me think, I want, you know, like one of my favorite movies I've seen this year is Sinners, and it was just so good, and a little bit of it was kind of bleak and depressing, but it was also just good enough that I was able to overlook what I consider sort of the bleak elements of it. So I'm also very inconsistent, so sorry guys. But I felt like that one gave me a lot to think about and a lot to chew on. So horror doesn't have to just be fun. I did not like Requiem. I hated that movie so harshly, but also appreciated the brilliance of it. I appreciated the acting, the screenplay. Like I appreciated that as a movie, but it was so hard. And when it was over, I was just like, I can't believe I just watched that. So, you know, I don't, you know, I'll still watch messed up movies that have messed up endings. And I didn't like it, but I thought it was really well put together. It was well acted. It was a good movie. It just wasn't, you know, there's no rewatching that. Like it was just too much. But no, yeah, I mean I watch stuff like that. I don't rewatch stuff like that. I don't recommend stuff like if I recommend a movie to you, I don't wanna risk that, you know, a movie I recommended ruined your day. Unless I don't like you, and then I'll be like, you should watch Requiem for a Dream. Like, oh my god, you're gonna love it. Watch it with your parents. Especially like your grandma. Your grandma would really love it if you watched this with her. So, but yeah, no, I've seen that. Again, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. You have to discover that stuff on your own. Yeah, and again, like, yeah, Sinners was really good. I think Sinners for me, what worked was sort of the meta side of it. Like it was incidental, really, in a lot of ways that it was a horror movie. So that said, no, and for some people it worked. For me, like a bummer movie will make my mood worse. So. Right, exactly. Exactly. I would never recommend. Well, I mean, you know, like, depending on what your life is like, you might want to know about that. That might be something you need to know. And you know, there's some people where they're like, yes, please tell me more. Let me see footage of that, but not everyone. Different strokes for different folks, if you will. That only happened the one time on Os's, though. He has not done an open mic since, or let people he hasn't vetted come on since. So it's like Alana says: you live, you learn. And you know, she wrote "You Ought to Know" about Uncle Joey from Full House. So there we go. Command Center is looking pretty good.
Mhm.
And people say that, and then like one day, but you might be like, "What is this?" when you're looking in a mirror, and then if you've never seen one, you don't know that that's what you're looking at. So the more you know. She get the little clip of the more you know rainbow. Drop that every so often. Bum, bum, bum. Yep, that's a part of the stream where everything goes unhinged. Sorry guys, I really tried this time to sorry James, I tried to keep things. But we're at like an hour and a half, which means I can make it like an hour and 10 minutes before it just goes off the rails. So that's pretty good to know.
Yeah.
Exactly, Alex. LOL. You'll be sitting there one day looking in the mirror, singing that song by Michael Jackson about the man in the mirror, trying to figure out what's happening. And then you'll be like, wait, Allison said that one time. And then here we are. It's educational. And amateur labs. Yeah, exactly. Not everything needs to be done by professional. Wait. Okay, yeah, no, I'm not gonna even finish that one. Sorry. It's a real prolapse in judgment there. All right. Let's see, where am I? Here we go. The whole point, I got the glitter pen. Here we go. All right. Not for a temporary setup. I gotta say, this is not bad. So, it won't be like this at all next time, guys, but if the equipment I ordered shows up on time. Uh-oh, my red glitter pen is dying. Oh no. Wait. There we go. It's just about to die. Luckily, I have a whole nother box of these, the yummy yummy ones. It's literally the name, yummy yummy. But these are scented, so this smells like cherries. So it smells like cherries, and there's glitter. It doesn't get any better than that. Oh, you guys. Oh, Alex, it's so good. It's such a good line, Alex. I'm so impressed and proud. I just don't want to put it back up, but I have to. Oh my God. So good, Alex. Alex, people are going to remember that joke forever, and they're going to try to steal it from you, so I'm sorry. Brilliance means the sincerest form. What is it? The sincerest form of flattery or whatever. So. And get off the stream, and YouTube's gonna be like, this stream is unmonetized because of all the talk. Well, that's okay. It'll be fine. All right, there we go. That's what I was looking for. Thank you, Alex. You've saved the day again. Oh my goodness. One of the neighbors wants us to know he has a truck. There we go. Oh yeah. One more time, sir, just so we know. Just so we know how big you aren't. I don't know if can you hear the revving, James?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. My sound muffling devices apparently are protecting you guys from the guy down the street revving his engine.
Mm-hmm.
Our Tiny Tim, as his wife probably knows him. All right, let's see what's left. How is your picture coming along, James? Excellent. That looks really good. I'm super impressed.
I try.
I feel like last time when you came, you said something like you hadn't colored in years.
I know. And now, since our last live stream, when I'm working from home, in between work projects, I'll just start coloring.
Nice.
Practicing.
It's very relaxing. Like, that's what kind of why I started doing it was I'm like, oh, let me relax. And then I was like, but let me figure out how to stick it on the internet so everyone can watch me relax. And here we are. No, that looks really good. Super awesome.
So with your love for GoBots, were you a fan of the Rock Lords?
I liked the Rock Lords. The only one that ever showed up in our neck of the woods was the gold one. And none of the others showed up because it was at the tail end of the toy line. So we had the gold one, but that was it. And I think my brother got him, and I probably traded him for a G.I. Joe. Because it was in my box of stuff whenever we finally got our own rooms. When they're like, maybe you two shouldn't share a room anymore. I was like, yeah, get that little brat out of my room. But yeah, just the one. And I didn't get to see the GoBot movie. I still actually have it. I need to look for that on YouTube. The movie with the Rock Lords that introduced them. I have one of the places where I buy PDF coloring books recently added the Rock Lord coloring book to like the available items. So I think I'm gonna buy it because, you know, why not? I'll add it to my GoBot collection.
There you go.
But I did, and I know Margot Kidder did the voice of Solitaire in the movie, so like I should track it down and watch it because I remember, and this could be, I haven't watched GoBot cartoons since we were kids, but I should go back and rewatch them because I remember the GoBot cartoon being a little bit better than a lot of sort of other Saturday morning cartoon fare. Could be completely wrong. You could watch it and be like, wow, this is ass. But I remembered it being better. You said you rewatched some of the episodes, correct?
Yep.
How does it stand? Does it work? Are they still good or are they very dated?
Some of the episodes still work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. Because, like some of the He-Man stuff is, some of the old Filmation stuff is fine, but some of it is just really has not aged well. Let's leave it at that. Because I know there are people who love that very much and I don't want to insult them. But some of it's not aged. A lot of the Filmation stuff in general. Even their pre-He-Man stuff, I've been researching. They did a Further Adventures of Gilligan cartoon that Kenner did a Dip Dot book for. So I've got some Gilligan's Island content I'm going to end up at some point doing. And in researching that, I found episodes in it. And, Gilligan's Isle was never sort of high art to begin with. But the cartoon is, they gave him a pet monkey. So Gilligan has like this mischievous pet monkey in it for some reason. I don't know. I don't know. It did not age well. So, yeah. Uh-oh. Sorry, CJ.
No, I did go back and watch that movie. It is on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah. That one, you can tell it was towards the end.
Okay.
So you're like, okay. Yeah. It's still, if you have nothing better to do and you want to kill like an hour and a half. Yeah.
Well, I put stuff on when I'm filming stuff, so. And some of the stuff that hasn't, aged as well or is not as, or was never good, but just as kids, we didn't realize it. It's a lot easier to sort of plow through it or make it through whenever I'm working on something else. And like if my full attention is on it, then not so much, but I'm working on other things. And so I should check that out though, because again, I never saw it at all as a kid. So I don't even have memories of that one other than we wanted to see it, we wanted the toys, but it was so far at the end that we got none of the toys except the one. I mean, the gold one was pretty cool though, so there is that. If you're gonna get one, get the cool one. I just remember them hitting at the same time as the meteor orbs hit for Masters of the Universe. And those were pretty lame.
See, I have a different take on that. I loved the meteor orbs.
Okay. See, we
I had
disagree.
I had the bear, and as an adult, I was like, oh, I'm going to rebuy that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm not paying adult prices for that.
Yeah, they're really spendy, which is interesting because they, to my understanding, they're not the same color schemes, but the toys that were imported, because those are just imported from Japan.
Yeah.
They still use those same molds and still make those same toys in Japan today. So it's like they are different color schemes from what I understand, but still, it just seems weird that Especially, I mean, again, not to, I'm not, not yucking your yum, but there's a smaller audience for like the meteor orbs. Like there are a lot of fans who don't consider them, really part of Motu just because of the import nature of them, and how they were sort of just jammed in there to be a cash grab. So it does surprise, because I looked them up for the episode of Toy Geeks that they featured in, and I remember being really surprised that they were the price they were, because I was like, well, I'll get the cat, I'll get that red cat. I'm thinking, he'll be cool for the shelf, and then I looked at the prices. I'm like, no, I will not be getting the red cat. So. Are the rock lords like the same pricing? Like,
you can find them loose at decent prices.
Okay.
I had like 2 growing up, and then one of their pet sidekicks.
Okay.
And I got the gold one again as an adult, and I'm trying to track down the other one, but he's in my eBay listings, and I'm like, yeah, I'll pick him up eventually.
Oh, congratulations, Alex. Yeah. Yeah, there was a period where Filmation, I can't remember which one. There was one of a show Filmation did for ABC that bombed so bad. It's the whole reason they went syndication only, because ABC wouldn't work with them anymore because it was so terrible. We had both of the creepies. We had the purple one, and there was one that was mail order for like glow in the dark green. In this day and age, you can pretty easily find purple creepy, but the glow in the dark one does go for slightly higher prices. But he was also way more rare. I don't think he ever got a retail release. But creepy was cool. I liked the monster GoBots. I thought those were cool. Vamp. What was it, like Squirt, I think. I've got the coloring book that introduces them. I just haven't scanned it in yet. But they were all pretty cool, I thought. I like the monsters. Yeah, let me get back to that list really quick. Yeah, Filmation just at one. I mean, Filmation also did Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. Pretty sure that's what they were called. And like, so yeah, they for a while there did some animation that was pretty groundbreaking and pretty significant as far as the culture. I mean, Motu is very, as far as pop culture and its impact on society was pretty big. Doesn't mean that a lot of the episodes have aged well, but yeah, they did a lot. So I think that's a little bit of the problem, though, is there's a point where Filmation was just doing everything and anything, and it just didn't quite land always. And because they were an independent studio outside of the network system. I mean, it's one of the reasons Mattel picked them, was they were one of the cheaper animation houses to work with that were still in the US. For a really long time, a big part of Filmation's selling point was that they were one of the only animation houses left in the United States that weren't outsourcing to foreign markets. And I think that was true up until the very end. So At some point, I'll finish my Filmation video. I've got so many videos, like, half written. I should focus. All right, there we go. Nice. And I finished. I actually finished one on stream for a change. It's like a record, you guys. I think for me, Fat Albert still works. Actually, I've watched it. It doesn't work on the level that Cosby is. Cosby, but I think overall, for what I mean, it is a time capsule. Like, you know, some of it technically hasn't aged well, but considering the time frame, I think it stands up pretty well. I like I rewatched some of the Flash Gordon. That was still pretty good. The Star Trek I like. That was the only Star Trek I've ever finished. I think that helped, though, that they had actual writers from the Star Trek show writing episodes. I liked some of their Ghostbusters. Some of it was kind of like, you could tell that they were throwing that together to try to preserve their ownership of the Ghostbuster name. Black Star was really good. And then I like like I said, I like the Flash Gordon. It was a bit uneven, but it also originally started out as like a movie that they turned into episodes. So that creates a situation where when you're originally going to do like a 2-hour movie and then suddenly it's an ongoing show. So anyhow, I'm done. Did you finish, James?
I did.
All right, I'm going to put you, wait, how do I do that? Oh, wait, over here. There we go. No, is it not letting me? Huh. Okay, there we go. There we are. Thank you. Very nice. That looks really good. Thank you. And then really quick.
Nice.
And then, yep, I am finished as well. Oh my goodness. There we go. And just in time for my neighbor to start cutting their grass. So good timing. All right. And yeah, we've got like 5-6 minutes left. So let's go ahead and wrap it up. James, where can the people find you?
So I have a YouTube channel. It's called Mint with Card. Come check it out. I'm up to episode 30. And
link in the chat.
I'm sitting currently at 27 subscribers. So I'm trying to get up to 30. That's my goal.
Let's get you. Well, I think we should be able to get you a few more than that. But let's definitely get James up to 30. And let's go watch some of his videos. I'm going to watch GoBots. I've been out of town, so I'm behind. But that's the first thing I'm going to watch today. So everyone, please go subscribe and watch some stuff. Let's get James subscribers. Yeah, we will get get you there. So, very good. Excellent. All right. All right. Let's see. So GoBots is there already. So they've got that. That's all of your reviews. You have a ton of reviews up that people can go and deep dive on. So please go, subscribe, watch, enjoy. And let's see really quick. I have a bunch of GoBot shorts that from the last month that are up. Go check those out. And then this week, what do I got? Tomorrow is a color pencil testing video. I'm trying the 120 pencil set of Cool Bank, which is a pretty less than $20 pencil set. I've got a Crystar short. I've got some Goonie shorts. Friday is Masters of the Universe Color and Chill, made from more vintage Alcala art that was never that was altered before it was used for the original mini comics. It has an unproduced vehicle in it. Well, it's been produced since through fan channels, but officially never produced by Mattel. And then Halloween content starts soon. So I'll be doing Halloween shorts next month. So
Nice.
keep an eye out for all of that. And on that note, we're going to head out. I know Brick is streaming later, so if you guys pop in and visit Brick, I'm sure we'd appreciate. Go check out, and CJ, I think CJ is already subscribed. So yeah, CJ is over there and commenting. So go say hi to CJ and James's comments. CJ is the hardest working member of YouTube audiences. And really quick, thank you again to my new members, Kenzo, Black Phoenix, Cobweb Collector, and Sight Beyond Sight. I appreciate you very much. And as always,
Bring out the olive. Bring out the olive.
if it'll play. Oh, that's not cooperating. So no olives for you,
And enough champagne to fill
but
the
enough
Nile.
champagne. All right. And with that, we are going to head out. So thank you again, James.
Thank you.
I appreciate you so much. And James will be back at some point. We'll make it happen. And I will see you in the next one. And as always, we leave with this tidbit from the 1980s.
I haven't made up my mind yet. Incidentally, which one of you bitches is my mother?